What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another transfer update video and just general Arsenal video, people. Big up to everyone on this, what day is it? Thursday? Wednesday. The weeks are all over the place at the moment. Big up to everyone on this Wednesday. Hope you are well and welcome to the channel, people. Lots to talk about today. Big up to everyone who has subscribed to the channel already. And a lot to talk about, people. Hope everyone is well. Lateness is great. How late was that? 5 minutes. Yeah, that's a fine. I can't lie. 2 minutes acceptable. 5 minutes is like, yeah, that's too much. Cheers, everyone. Hope you're well. Yeah, that's unacceptable. I can't lie. But big up to everyone, man. Hope you are well. No midweek game, man. No midweek game, which we need midweek games back. They are coming back because obviously the Champions League draw is tomorrow. And that's obviously going to be Champions League football. The annoying thing is that there's 3 international breaks in the next 3 months. That's very frustrating. And for me, I actually agree with Arsene Wenger's theory that they should take a 4-week break in the middle of the season and play all the international games at once, because these breaks are a joke. These breaks are actually a joke, people. Right, big up to everyone. Hope you are well. Love the shirt. Yeah, anything burgundy is always going to be a winner with Arsenal, isn't it? Let's be honest. Look at Lawrence Jokeres is my goat. You was calling him something different when he missed that chance on Saturday. I can't lie. Yeah, I actually agree with Wenger. Take 1 month out, middle of the season, October, November. Play 6, 7, whatever, international games, and then lock it off. You know, 3 international breaks in 3 months. Come on, man. Nah. Listen, it'd be a tough month, I can't lie, but big up to everyone, man. I'm well, people. I'm well. Appreciate everyone's support as always. Play Shook Ones Part 2. I wish I could, bro. I wish I could. We've just had a little bit of breaking news. It's not a player joining, it's more a player going out. What are your thoughts on Goldbridge getting the rights to stream the Bundesliga? Big up, bro. Listen, those are the sort of deals that show you that YouTube is breaking boundaries. You know, so I'm only happy when I see things like that, because it shows the power of this space that I'm involved in, you know, and Bundesliga being streamed on YouTube is amazing. What we're hoping is that eventually the Premier League allow some content creators to do that. Imagine if you was tuning into a live stream and we're showing the Arsenal game while we're reacting to it. It'd be unbelievable. So yeah, man, I'm happy when I see things like that, because it shows that boundaries are being broken. You know, the mainstream media didn't really want to let YouTube in, and now they've got no choice. So I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing, to be honest. Big C getting streaming rights to Dundalk. Dundalk, drop me a message, man. Eventually, we can get the 3 p.m. games. They've got to change that. It's ridiculous. I don't know how the fans in this country have not made more of a fuss of the fact that 3 p.m. kickoffs are not on TV. It's embarrassing. But you can fly abroad and watch them. I don't get it. I don't get it. Big up Lemonade Money said the Yucca app is still hitting, bro. I'm telling you now, they need to sponsor me, because I've given them a lot of shout outs on this channel for no money. You know what I mean? So anyone who hasn't got the Yucca app, YUKA, I strongly recommend it, right? I'm always, you know, I want to promote good health. You'll be in the supermarket a lot longer, but you'll be surprised about some of the things that you buy not being healthy. It's basically an app. Any item in the supermarket, you scan it on the app and it gives you a rating out of 100 how healthy that item is. The higher it is, the healthier it is. It also tells you what's unhealthy in it. So I'm buying things in the supermarket. I'm like, yeah, I've been having this for years. I thought it was healthy. Scan it. No, it's bad. So it's changed my habits of what I buy. But yeah, you'll be in the supermarket a long time. How is your son? Yeah, he's recovering from injury, bro. Appreciate that, Mangi. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, YouTube content. YouTube streaming football is a game changer. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's a massive moment. I know a lot of the basketball content now, they're showing some of that. So yeah, hopefully they do more of it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm speaking to the community here, people. We might have to calm down now. It might be time to calm down. It's Wednesday. We announced him on Saturday. I think it's time for us to all relax. Relax over what, you're thinking? What I mean is, we've watched the announcement video about 45 times. We've watched the interview, the full interview, 4 or 5 times. We've sang Let It All Work Out randomly in our house about 85 times since Saturday. You've watched 35 TikTok edits of him singing Let It All Work Out in the restaurant that leads to goals at Crystal Palace. You've also ordered the kit with number 10 Eze on the back of the shirt. And you've also watched the behind the scenes video as well. You know what I mean? So maybe it's time for us to calm down a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm in that zone. I told you, I'm walking downstairs. Let it all work out. She's like, what? Why are you singing that again? I'm like, I don't know. It's stuck in my head. I can't stop. Are we all in this same situation, or is it just me? I can't lie. I must have sung that song about 90 times in the last 3 days or 4 days. It might be time to stop. Somebody messaged me yesterday. They said, you're signing Eze, not Ronaldinho. I said, I know, but we've been starved at Arsenal, man. You know what I mean? It's that's the closest we're going to get to Ronaldinho right now. I can't lie. But yeah, I think a lot of us have been in that zone. It is, man. Like I said, man, it's I think it's bigger than football. The song itself is an emotional song. Then the Eze story, and then you could probably relate it to things in your own life. And overall, it just has a real, sort of emotional effect. But yeah, man, the Wheezy version, I've seen that one on a lot of them, but I can't wait for him to play. I actually I wish he was playing at home this weekend, but you can't get a much bigger game than Liverpool away. I can't lie. That's going to be, I just hope Arteta doesn't bench him, which he could, which he definitely could. I would start him. I like that one. I like that one. Wheezy, but with yeah, I see what you did there, and that's a banger. Big up to Byron. After this window and the other club's needs, if it's not this season, it's time to go. No other squad in the league has our depth. There's no other. I would still say in certain parts of the team that Man City have better depth than us, man. They got Haaland and Mamouche. Midfield, Gundogan, Reinders, Rodri, Kovacic, Bernardo, Cherky. At centre-back, they've got... Who they got centre-back? Diaz, Stones, Akanji, Vardial, Aki. I would still not say we have got the best squad. We have in parts, in areas, but not the whole squad. That's not me giving an excuse to the manager, by the way, because I'm not. I'm really not. I still think some people might think I'm being greedy. I think we still need one more signing. Actually, after this defender, I still think we need one more signing. I would actually still go and sign Rafa Leao. And I know people think I've turned into Leao's lawyer, but I genuinely think that's the player that I would sign, because I wouldn't be playing as a left wing if I was the manager. I don't see the point sometimes in buying a player that specializes and putting him in a different position and expecting him to be incredible. Like, we need a left back, so we sign a centre back who plays left back. And then when we need a left winger, we sign a 10 who you're playing on the left. No, not for me. I would still go and buy a top quality left winger. I would sell Martinelli, and then I would move Eze centrally and say, You and Odegaard go head-to-head for that number 10 spot. That's what I would be doing. Stories coming out over the last 2 days that Rodrigo has committed his future to the club. He'll give it one more year at Real Madrid. So the Rodrigo saga seems to have ended. I've actually said the whole window that I would sign Leao ahead of Rodrigo because of his power and his pace and his aggression. But I just don't think it's going to happen. No, I would take Leao over Rodrigo. To be honest, I would. Grimaldo would have been a good signing. They've lost so many players, and it looks like we're going to sign a player off them. So I want one more player, man. I'm hoping we get some business done, get a few out, and nick one on deadline day. We have the best defence since 04 Milan. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that, man, because the left back, I don't think we have a top quality left back. Best back four since 04 Milan. That sounds way too much, to be honest. I wish you was right though, Lawrence, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's as good as that. But we have got a very good back four. Yeah, 05 Chelsea hardly conceded. United had that team with Vidic, Ferdinand, Evra. I don't think it's as good as that. Yeah, although I do love our back four. I still think we could do with a left back. Some news that's just come out regarding man like Reece Nelson. Looks like he could finally be on his way. Charlie Wyatt says Crystal Palace are now in talks to sign Arsenal's Reece Nelson for £15 million. Deal with Fulham seems to have gone cold. I just read the story. It was saying that Fulham were only prepared to take Reece on loan. They weren't even prepared to put an obligation to buy in that deal. So Arsenal look to be moving away from that deal. There's no point loaning out Nelson with no obligation. He can't be coming back in 12 months and we're back to square one. Palace are obviously making moves. They now got the money for Eze, of course. You know what I mean? They've got the Eze money. They're signing that Jeremy Pino from, I think he's at Villarreal. We were linked with him once. They're also in for Chukwueze, who's a good player at AC Milan. And it looks like they're now going for Reece Nelson. I think it'd be a good move for him. Good team. 15 million. Is that too cheap? Again, I'm being totally honest. I feel like if Reece played for other teams, he'd be going for more than that. I think 15 million is too cheap. I'll be real, but the situation we're in, the fact he's on 100 grand a week and we've got loads of wingers, you've got to move him on. I think that's too cheap. I'll be honest. I think he should be. But it's the wages. Again, if he was on 50 grand, we'd probably get 25 million for him. He's on 100 grand. You ain't going to get big money for him. That's the situation. I would like to think they would put an add-on or some sort of sell-on clause in there just in case he ever goes to a level that we don't expect. He has been injury-prone as well. I'll be honest, under these circumstances now, the fact the window is on Monday, you've got to take the 15 million. We're at a stage we're not in a position of power now. And ultimately, Crystal Palace bought Eddie Nketiah for 35 million. So we probably owe them a favour, to be honest, after doing that. So yeah, big up Crystal Palace. You've sold us Eze. You've bought Eddie Nketiah for 35 mil. So yeah, I'll take the 15 mil. I'll take the 15. Kay Hayes says, big up Don Curtis and the GOAT community. Hincapie looks like a very good player. Spurs are getting bullied. Here we go again. DMX voice. Same oldish dog, just a different day. DMX. Take the 15 mil and run, says Lawrence. Yeah, I think it's that time. We owe them 15 million, says Elwood. We probably do. And they bought Rob Holding. Damn. They took Sambi on loan for a year as well. We owe Palace all sorts of favours, to be honest. So Reece looks like he could be on his way to Crystal Palace. If we can get 15 million for him, that's 100 grand a week off the wage bill. And obviously, we're going to talk about Kiwior shortly. Still a couple of other players that need to be moved on. If you're looking at Fabio Vieira, you're looking at Sambi Lokongwu. Looks like he could be getting a move to Trabzonspor. And then maybe even Zinchenko as well. I can't see him getting a lot of football. So I think that'd be a great move for Reece. Eddie Nketiah's there. I think it'd be a good move. They play good counter-attacking football as well. Did you see Celtic and Tierney got knocked out of the Champions League by Borat FC? I mean, yeah, not good for them. Looks like Rangers will probably go out tonight as well. 3-1 down from the first leg. So Scottish football is, I think Scottish football's been in trouble for a while, to be honest. I really do. Their actual national team has made some improvements, but it's more from Scottish players going abroad and doing well. I mean, look at McTominay and stuff, how well he's done. But I think Scottish football is in a bit of a sorry state at the moment. You know, but you remember back in the day, Celtic were getting to Champions League, beating Barcelona and stuff. Like, you go to Celtic Park, it was a nightmare to go and play them at Parkhead. But no, it's Kieran Tierney, lad. It's Kieran Tierney, lad. Knocked out to Borat FC, man. It's crazy. Don't know if anyone's seen Darren Farley's little skit that he does on his channel, man. The one he did this morning about Brendan Rodgers. Hilarious, man. Byron said, I think 1 to 25 overalls are as is the deepest and most balanced. Fair enough. And Guna Carlos said, imagine Hincapie, Calafiori overlapping. Gives Eze the ability to cut in centrally. Also, Hincapie left. MLS can play in midfield. I think that's what might happen. I've watched a bit of this Hincapie recently, and I think he could end up being a left back, and Skelly maybe ends up playing back in midfield. So I think Skelly's very good in midfield, to be honest. So you could use him there. Ben Jacobs is now reporting that same news as well that we've just spoken about. And Hand of Arsenal has just reported it. Arsenal have been in talks with Crystal Palace for the transfer of Reiss Nelson. Talks have been ongoing for around 10 days between the clubs. Andrea is looking to secure a fee that will count as pure profit, as Reiss is from Hale End, which is great. As I said, people, a lot of you guys will know this, but when you sell a player and he comes out of the academy, the whole transfer fee goes onto your books. Even if you only get £1 million up front, if you sell him for 15 million, that goes as 15 million on your books. When you sign a player, all that goes on your books is what you're paying for that player in that year. So effectively, you could sell Reiss Nelson for 15 million. That's plus 15. You could go and buy a player for 100 million. But if you only pay 15 million up front, they only count the 15 million that you've paid. So selling players out of the youth team is a brilliant way to balance the books. And obviously Reiss is probably one of the only ones that will sell this year. Last year, we did great because we sold Emile Smith-Rowe, 30 million. We sold Eddie Nketiah, 35 million. So last year, our books were through the roof, which is why we can spend so much money in this window. Because we got pure profit on youth team players, which is why you see a lot of these clubs now, they're having to sell players out of their youth system. Liverpool sold Kwanzaa. Aston Villa sold Jacob Ramsey. Man United want to sell Garnacho. They might be selling Kobbie Mainoo. That is why these clubs are now selling youth team players. Because over years gone by, you would be desperate to keep these players. Could you say they come for our system? He's one of our own. Now clubs are saying, listen, sell somebody that came through the system because it's pure profit. Yeah, I'm doing up accountant there, but you know, information and entertainment. That's why Chelsea go around the world and sign all these star youngsters, because they know when they're in trouble, they'll sell somebody out the youth team, pure profit, and that's how they can go and drop $1 billion in the market. Big up Mohammed, hope you're well, bro. He says, big up C and the community. My opinion on not being able to sell players on good money, team players have not won a whole lot. Once trophies start coming in, I believe we can demand more from them. And second, high wage. I agree with that. I think because we haven't been successful in recent years, we've had to pay average players top quality wages to just convince them to stay at the club. I think that will change over the next few years with Berta, with the fact we're a much better team now. You shouldn't see a player like Eddie Nketiah on £100,000 a week when Luis Diaz was on 55 grand a week at Liverpool. I think we can now say to players, look, we're not going to pay you crazy money to come here because we're one of the best teams. You know, I know we haven't won and it's frustrating. You've seen my frustration, but we're finishing second. We're getting to Champions League semi-finals. We've got good players here. We don't have to overpay players now to come here. They should want to join this project. But we were out here giving stupid contracts to average players. So that needs to now change. Definitely needs to change. Nobody above 250k and average players below 100k. Well, that's what you'd like to get to. Obviously, Havertz is on more than that. Zonal marking on corners. Anas, listen, understand and agree with is what you need to change. I understand zonal marking. I've been in clubs that do zonal marking, so I've actually defended in that. I just don't think it's good. I don't think it works. It's confusing. So what you do, you line up your players and you say, if a ball goes into a certain area of the penalty area when it's crossed in, that is your area to go and attack the ball. But sometimes a ball ends up in an area where you're thinking, oh, that's my area, but it's kind of close to his area. So if one of you hesitates and thinks, oh, I just don't like it, and then a player gets the run on you as well, because you're standing there and they're running towards you. Naturally, if someone's running at you and you're standing and jumping, they're coming with more aggression. I would much rather say, go man to man, grab a player, old school, and just... So, yeah, I understand it, but I just don't think it's that good. I really don't. But again, yeah, subjective. Sometimes it works. Alfred said, Newcastle fans mad at Isak, but didn't care when Gordon refused to play for Everton. They don't care that Whistle... Listen, football fans, we're all fickle people. We're all fickle. Let's be real. Gyökeres went on strike. He refused to come back for pre-season. I never complained about it once. When it benefits your own club, you'll turn a blind eye to it. That's just the reality. Lawrence said, Curtis, I do agree with your analysis on most things, to be fair, but disagree on your analysis of Calafiori's class. Again, I think Calafiori is a good player. I just don't think he's a great left back. I think going forward he's good. Defensively, I'm still not sure about him. He's a natural centre back. Even in pre-season, he played centre back in one of the games, and I think I thought he was really good. And I just think if we're trying to win leagues, Champions Leagues, is Calafiori an elite left back? I don't think he is. I don't think he is. So, yeah, I agree. I think he's class. I just don't think he's a class left back. So, but who knows? Most of his best work is when we attack. Yo, Curtis and community, your all-time five-a-side team. That's tough. That's tough. I mean, five-a-side, I think you need a ball-playing goalkeeper, right? So I'll probably go with Edison. I think he's the best ball-playing goalkeeper. In defense, five-a-side, what would you play? 1-2-2-1 or... No, 2-2-1. That's five players and then the keeper. 1-2-1. That's a tough one. Who would you play in defense? Maybe Ramos. He's brilliant on the ball in defense. Midfield, you'd want Messi in the team. You might want Neymar in the team. You got to get Messi and Neymar in there. It's not really, you're picking five-a-side players, aren't you? I mean, you'd want to get Ronaldinho in the team as well, to be honest. I'd just pick bare skillful players. Ronaldinho, Messi and Neymar. Them three would be in there. Yeah, Marcelo, unbelievable on the ball as well. R9, yeah, I've got to get R9. We're just picking pure attackers, no defenders. We're all out attack, FIFA settings. Wow, I've waffled again today. 26 minutes, I've barely got into any subjects. I've turned into Arteta the last few days, man. I just waffle on the stream. Big up to everyone locked in, man. Hope you're well. Over 2,500 of you locked in. Big up the Twitch gang as well. Really appreciate all of your support. Yeah, there's a story saying that Arsenal have still got quite a bit of money left to spend, which I read earlier. I'll get that up later on. Yeah, Evolution and Phase Talk. Yeah, we just ease into the stream, you know what I mean, nowadays. Big up Unknown C, man. Yeah, Waffle Wednesdays, people. Waffle Wednesday. Man said, "You're waffling. We just want to hear the new developments." Okay, I'll move on. I'll move on. Enough waffle, people. Enough waffle. Let's get into it. As I said, it's a big week for Arsenal. A lot going on that could affect our time going forward, people. Tonight is the Carabao Cup draw, which a lot of people look at the Carabao Cup and go, well, not, nah, it's. I think these competitions are very important for Arsenal this year and very important for Mikel Arteta because I would be saying win everything that you can win this season. Everything. Win me the Carabao Cup. You win it at the start of March. It's a trophy. It'll take some pressure off him. It might act as a confidence boost for the rest of the season. Go and get everything you can get. Now, because of this new seedings that they're doing in the Carabao Cup, Arsenal basically cannot play any of the seeded teams in this round, which means Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City, Newcastle, Chelsea, Tottenham, Villa, and Forest. We are unable to face each other in the next round. This is the potential teams we can play: Lincoln, Doncaster, Wigan, Bradford, Burnley, Port Vale, Wrexham, Barnsley, Sheffield Wednesday, Reading, Oxford, Brighton, Fulham, Bristol City, Grimsby, Man United, Everton, Mansfield, Huddersfield, Southampton, Cambridge, Cardiff, Wycombe, Swansea, Wolves, Millwall, and Brentford. Man United playing with the Scrubs on a Wednesday night. They're away at Grimsby today, people. Wow, Man United, is this where you're at right now? Wednesday nights at Grimsby in the second round of the Carabao Cup. Maybe Sesko will get a goal tonight, people. But yeah, this is who we're going to get. 4 Premier League clubs have been knocked out already. So maybe 1 or 2 others will go out tonight. But the draw for that is tonight after the Man United game. So we'll find out. I'm not going to do a watch along for that, by the way. It's not quite worthy of that, is it? MJ Super Chat incoming. Yeah, he'll be in the background going, when's the last time you won the Champions League? We've won trebles. He'll come back with that, surely. So, yeah. So that's tonight. That's the Carabao Cup draw. Tomorrow, we're obviously doing a watch along. 5 p.m., I believe it is UK time. The Champions League draw, people. Arsenal are in pot 2, which means we're going to get 2 teams out of pot 1. I think we play them. Do we play them away from home? They changed it this year. But we're going to get 2 out of that pot 1. And obviously, you can't play against clubs from your own country. So we're going to get PSG, Madrid, Bayern, Inter, Dortmund, Barcelona. 2 of those teams. So it could be very difficult. Could be very difficult. Yeah, I know, man. If you looked at the coefficient, we're like, look, we're 5,000 points. I don't know how you get the points, but we're top of pot 2, but didn't quite make pot 1. Obviously, that's because we were out the Champions League for years. So all those years, our coefficient points was low when we were playing in the Europa League, and then one year we weren't even in Europe. Do you know where I'm at with the Champions League, people? Bring on anyone. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. One thing I've realised with the Champions League, you can't hide in the Champions League. You just can't. You're going to play these teams. Especially now you're playing eight games in the group stage. I'm not going to be sitting there tomorrow going, listen, I mean, if we got Dortmund and who's the next easiest game after that? I'm not even sure. Maybe Inter. I'll go, all right, cool. We got the better side of the draw. But if we end up getting Real Madrid and PSG, embrace it, man. We've been waiting for the Champions League for years. Let them worry about us. At the end of the day, number 1 as a content creator, Real Madrid, amazing game. Man City, well, not Man City, we can't play them. Barcelona, PSG. And if you're going to those games, imagine watching Lamine Yamal at the Emirates. Do you know what I mean? These are games you want. So I'm confident that we can get through anyway. So yeah, the Champions League draw is tomorrow around 5 p.m. I will be doing a watch along for that. So make sure you tune in and let's see who we get. Obviously, if we can have a good Champions League run this year or win it, which is the ultimate dream, but at least have a good run. Hopefully we get enough coefficient to get in that top pot. And obviously, you want to qualify for the Club World Cup in 4 years as well, because if that competition gets bigger, then you want to be a part of it. So, yeah, same format as last year. I mean, we had a lot of debate around that. I think the new format is way better than the old format. I thought the old format was failing, because all the old format did was all the big teams won their group, and then they all avoided each other in the first knockout stage, and the Champions League was boring. Now clubs can't hide. You know what I mean? It's crazy. That's why Man City ended up playing Real Madrid and got knocked out. I think this new format is way better. Way better. Let's have a look at all the pots. Somebody just said, what pot are Tottenham in? I actually forgot that Tottenham are in the Champions League, but yeah, fair play to them. They are in there, and they won the Europa League. So they're in pot 3. Obviously, that's because they won the Europa League. They would have got their points up. Newcastle are in pot 4, third from bottom. Obviously, they haven't been in the European competitions for a long time, so we'll get 2 out of here as well. And then Tottenham in pot 3. So yeah, very interesting. The draw will be tomorrow. City and Chelsea and Liverpool in pot 1, but obviously all 3 of them have won the Champions League within the last 10 years. So I don't know why Robbie hates the new format. I love it. It's so much better, so much more exciting. Clubs can't hide. Look at last year, man. I mean, PSG won the Champions League. They didn't even finish in the top 8. They had to go in the playoffs and get through. So I think it's so much better. It's way more exciting. But that's just my opinion. Some people don't like it, but I liked it. Big up Palacios, said locked in from Manila, the Philippines, been a gunner since 79 when we moved there for 8 years. Been a gunner since 79 when we moved there for 8. Oh, you're doing a good job, Curtis. Big up, bro. Big up. The Thriller in Manila. Away goal days were exciting. Yeah, I mean, I understood it. Away goals were exciting, but it felt unfair at times because you've drawn and you've been knocked out because they scored at your stadium. I get why they did it, because teams over 2 legs will go away from home, shut up shop, don't defend, don't attack, and then go back home and attack. But I think now, man, Arsenal. I used to do these watch-alongs for these Champions League draws. I think, oh, I hope we don't get Real Madrid, or oh no, let's avoid them. You know what? I'll be doing that watch-along tomorrow and just saying, I don't care who we get. Listen, obviously, we could end up with a nightmare situation where we get PSG and Real Madrid and then all, but I'm just looking at it going, we've got to be confident that we can beat anybody. Right? That's the mentality we've got to have. We were Champions League semi-finalists, and I think we missed an opportunity to beat PSG. I think if we'd bought a striker in January, we would have troubled PSG because we had big chances in both legs. And you look how bad Inter were in the final. We could be Champions League winners if we'd done our job in the transfer market, but the Kroenkes didn't do it in January. So give me anybody, man. I'd love to see Arsenal play Real Madrid again. I'd love to see it. So I'm looking forward to that one. Definitely looking forward to that. Make sure you lock in tomorrow. I believe it's at 5 o'clock. So we'll be doing a watch along for that, no doubt. Big up to everyone locked in, man. Over 3,000 of you tuned in. Appreciate the support as always. Get the likes up. We should be getting 1,000 likes easily. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, people. We're doing nicely. We're nearly at 102,000 already. They used to stitch us up back in the day. Yeah, it felt every time we got through the group, we'd end up with Bayern or Barcelona. Oh, Anfield. Listen, as I said, Carabao Cup draw tonight. Champions League draw tomorrow. On Sunday, we play Liverpool, which is an absolute massive game. And then on Monday, the transfer window closes. And then we've got a 2-week international break, which is frustrating. I haven't actually done a stream on here since we did the watch along for Newcastle Liverpool. I was on AFTV last night with Cecil. But I didn't do a show on here yesterday, man. And that Liverpool game, I mean, I was going to end that watch along when Hincapie made it 2-0. And luckily, the community was like, come on, just stay for vibes. And we stayed. And look at the game. Imagine if I'd ended the stream and then watched the ending of the game. It would have been mad. Liverpool, what a way to win the game. 16-year-old scores the winner, and they will be fired up. But we do have to take some positives from that as Arsenal and go, look, Liverpool are a fantastic team. They are the favourites to win the title. But they've conceded 4 goals in 2 games. They look very vulnerable defensively at the moment. Apart from Van Dijk, their whole back 4 looks shaky at the moment. Kirkes didn't even jump for Bruno Guimaraes' goal. I think he can be got at the weekend. Right back there to play Szoboszlai, you'd think you could cause him problems while Frimpong's out, or maybe Bradley goes there. This is the worst I've seen Konate at Liverpool. He's obviously he's got a lot of transfer speculation at the moment. So I just think Arsenal, what I want to see from Arsenal is go to Anfield with the mentality that we can beat them. A draw's not a terrible result, but I want Arsenal to go there and imagine beating Liverpool and then 2-week international break. They've just got a... It's horrible when you lose before an international break, and for 2 weeks you've just got to fester on that defeat. So we've got to go there and prove. We haven't won there for over 10 years, people. It's too long. And as I said, you watch Liverpool play other teams and go, I hope they drop points today or lose. But then we expect other teams to beat them, but we've actually got to beat them. Think about when Wenger would go to Old Trafford. Will Todd! Sometimes you got to go there and beat your rival. So I think this game on Sunday is absolutely massive. Massive. I'm excited for it as well. I just hope he picks Eze in the starting 11. Big up Donny says, big up Big C. We are the favourites, not Liverpool. We're going to win the league. I mean, listen, with the bookies, Liverpool are still favourites. I hope we are going to win the league. I really hope we do. But when I've checked, Liverpool are still down as favourites because they've had a big window, and obviously we know that potentially that Isak deal is lurking in the background. So luckily he won't be there for this weekend when we play them. Is Gabriel Jesus fit? He's back on the training pitch. Apparently he's out for at least another 2 months, though. At least. So you're not going to see Gabriel Jesus for a while. I even saw some reports saying it could be 3 months. They're not going to rush him back. He could be a reasonable squad player for us until the end of the season. And then maybe you move him on in the summer, or do you get him out on loan in January? I'm not sure. Leon said, what's up? No, I've clicked the wrong one. But Leon says, big up Curtis. Liverpool let a 2-goal lead slip twice. I think we will win. I mean, remember when we were 2-0 up when Xhaka riled the fans? That year we should have won. Adam said, what's up, C-fam from Australia? If we win at Liverpool, I'll be a bit more optimistic. If we win at Liverpool, I will have genuine belief that real strong belief that, maybe we can win this if we beat them. Honestly, I will. It will be that big if we could beat Liverpool at Anfield. 9 points out of 9, considering that start. Eze coming back. Remember, we're going there with no Saka. It would be an unbelievable victory. We've got to take heart. Bournemouth scored 2. Newcastle scored 2 with 10 men. We've got to go for them. We got to go for them. Right, people, let's talk transfers. Let's talk transfers. One looks to be leaving. Well, could be 2, actually. In fact, could be 3. Kiwior, Reece Nelson, Sambi Lokonga. Sambi Lokonga in talks to go to Trabzonspor on loan with an option to buy. Reece Nelson now in talks to go to Crystal Palace on a permanent. Looked like he was going to go to Fulham. Fulham only willing to offer loan with an option to buy. Arsenal have rejected that. We're now in talks with Palace. Palace willing to pay 15 million for him. It looks like this deal is going to happen. So yeah, we're shifting wages and bringing a little bit of money in. The other one that looks like he's going to go, people, is Jakub Kiwior. FC Porto official bid for Kiwior has been received by Arsenal. Fee in excess of 25 million package plus add-ons included on a loan with obligation to buy. Kiwior has already said yes to Porto and he's in talks over the details of the bid. Kiwior, it is obligation. So it is obligation, which means the deal, we will get that money. Again, 25 million euros for me is not enough money. I think, again, we're selling ourselves short. I mean, just looking back, I'm pretty sure we paid more than that for Kiwior. I'm pretty sure we paid like 26, 27 million pounds for him. So we're actually selling him for less than what we paid for him. And yet, the way he finished last season, I'm really surprised at that fee. Although it's Arsenal, I'm not, to be honest. Yeah, I'm disappointed with that fee. Realistically, Kiwior's profile now is bigger than when we signed. This says here Arsenal signed the Polish international for £27 million. What's 25 million euros in pounds? 25 million euro, 21.5 million. So we're down 5.5 million. I don't know how we've took a loss on Kiwior, to be honest. Apparently 15 clubs were in for him. If 15 clubs are in for him, how have we taken a loss? This says it was 20 million plus 7 million in add-ons when we bought him. So who knows how many of them add-ons we've actually paid. I don't know. I think the problem is it's late in the window and we're desperate to sell players. So you're not going to get what you want for them. That's just where we're at. What's Kiwior on wages wise? I think I saw before. Is he on about 60, 70 grand a week? Kiwior earns £58,000 a week, low wages. But then Copology said he's on 95. No way he's on 90 grand. I think I read he was on 60 grand. Sport Rack. 60 grand a week Kiwior's on. 60 grand. So if you get 60 grand a week Kiwior, you get 100 grand Nelson. I think Sambi's on around 60. Fabio Vieira's on about 60, 70. Yeah, the wage bill needs clearing. Yeah, maybe a lot of those add-ons we haven't paid. But again, if he's only on 60 grand a week, like you said, Alex, the fee should be higher. The fee should be higher. He'll do well at Porto. I think he'll do well there. It's a good move for him. Apparently, he's turned down Palace. He obviously wants Champions League football. He wants, the nice weather in Porto, and they're a big club. He'll do well there. I think we should have got 35 million for him, to be honest. If you look at the market, Kwanzaa costs 35 million. Kiwior should be costing 35 million. But we're in a situation right now where we've just got to sell players and get some money in. 25 million for Kiwior, it's 21.5 million. We probably aren't going to get that till next year, though, because it's a loan with an obligation. The obligation will kick in next year. So they've probably given us just a small loan fee and said they'll pay his wages. I'm not even going to blame Berta. He obviously is struggling to sell these players. They're obviously not that highly rated around the world. Because if 15 clubs wanted Kiwior and they rated him, you would think there would be a bit of an auction where someone offers 20, someone goes 25, we end up getting 35 million for it. These clubs are obviously lowballing us because we're actually loaning him. So I'm not blaming Berta. Berta's done some amazing work this summer. He's sorting out the mess that has been left behind from other people who've been in this job before, the likes of Edu and deals that Arteta's done. So I can't blame Berta. Berta's been a game changer for us. Stevie Wonder said, do you think Odegaard's spot is at threat more than Nelly? No, I'd say Nelly. Nelly is in big trouble, bro. Martinelli's probably our third choice left winger at the moment. Odegaard's still starting in that part of the pitch, I think. Eze will be moved to the left. I think Eze will be moved to the left. Berta is cleaning the poo off the bench. LSU, you're right, bro. He's just turned up here. He never did this. Gunnarola said, apparently there were bigger offers on the table for Kiwior, but he wants Porto. He's the record fee for a defender in Portugal. Yeah, fair play to him. Fair play to him. He obviously... But listen, Porto have been Champions League winners under Mourinho. They challenged for the league with Benfica and Sporting. They're in the Champions League. Nice city, nice weather. His wife, the twerk champion, she probably loves it. So, going to live in a hot country. So fair play. I'm happy for Kiwior. I am. Henry said the issue is the fact that he was unwilling to stay in the Premier. Would have been able to get... Yeah, maybe. Maybe Palace would have paid more for him. Maybe we would have got 30 million plus for him. So it could be that as well. It could be that. And 60,000 a week is still reasonably big wages because they're obviously in euros. That's going to be more. So Kiwior looks to be on his way. I would expect to hear we go on this very shortly, people, on Jakub Kiwior. Kiwior leaving the club means that we're going to bring somebody in. We spoke about this the other day. Craig said, I've been living in Portugal for 10 years. Don't blame him for holding out for Porto. Yeah, somebody messaged me yesterday saying it's a very nice city. So he obviously wanted to live there more than South London and playing for Palace. Arsenal have now agreed terms with Piero Hincapie. Hincapie. Somebody said it's Hincapie. Hincapie. You know, in England, you're just like, yeah, mate, Piero Hincapie. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Piero. He's agreed terms with Arsenal. The long-term deal is ready. Understand Hincapie favours Arsenal, also seen as an ideal signing by Arteta. Arsenal preparing an opening bid. This will likely be a loan plus an obligation to buy, which is smart business because, again, those finances will go on to next summer. So that is how we can maybe get around financial fair play. Now, this is what I was saying earlier, people. I want one more signing. There is a report out today that was saying that Arsenal have still got a reasonable amount of money left that they can spend before they're at the FFP limit. So if you can get Hincapie, if you can get him in on loan with an obligation, there still might be a little bit of money sitting in that pot and they can go and get someone else, man. I'm hoping. A lot of people have messaged me, by the way, and big up to everyone who has over the last few days saying, listen, you know, they watched the Bundesliga and he's a very good player. As I said, I've watched him play about 4 times. In those games, I wasn't really focusing on him so much. I know he's aggressive. He looks quite quick. Looks like he could play at left back for Arsenal. Surely, I'm just thinking, right, with Gabriel and Calafiori can play left centre back, why would Arsenal commit 50 million to a left-sided centre back when you've got Gabriel and Calafiori? Surely the plan, I don't know, is he a better left back than Calafiori? It feels to me like he's going to play left back. I saw a lot of his clips, he's bombing up and down the left and crossing it. But a lot of people who've messaged me have said he looks very good. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe Lewis Skelly becomes a midfielder at Arsenal and then Hincapie and Calafiori are our 2 left backs. And a lot of people have said, look, those who've watched him more have said he's an upgrade on Kiwior. So I'm happy with this deal. I just want the team to get better and better and the squad to get better and better. So I think if Eze's going to play left wing for Arsenal, which let's be realistic, I think that's where Arteta's going to play him, right? He's not going to drop Odegaard at the moment. If Eze's on the left, what Eze needs is a left back to get up and down the touchline to allow Eze to drift inside. Then you end up with Eze playing in the same role that he was playing at Crystal Palace because he was playing left 10 for Palace. So slightly to the left, but more central. Obviously, Odegaard drifts to the right 10. So if you end up with a situation where, when he's fit, Saka's on the right, Odegaard's drifting to right 10, Eze's in the left 10, and Hincapie's on the left, or Calafiori's on the left, that is where I think you get the best out of Eze. What you don't want with Eze is an inverted left back and then you're forcing Eze to hug the touchline and be an out-and-out winger. That's not what anybody needs to be seeing. You don't want him doing that. So, yeah, people saying he plays better at left back. I actually said this the other day, you know. I mean, Manchester United apparently willing to sell Kobbie Mainoo. Would you take him at Arsenal? I would at a cut price. It depends how much United will want for him. You know, he's like 20, 21. 18 months ago, people were saying he's a generational talent. I don't think you become a bad player overnight. I just think he's suffering at Man United. He's got a manager that doesn't know how to use him. He's 20 years of age. I'd take him for 40 million. I'd take him for 40 million, honestly, as a young player that you can develop. You got Rice, Zubamendi, Marino, Norgard, Kobe Mainu. I would genuinely take him. Maybe 35 mil, 30 mil I'd offer for him and just try and lowball them. I still think there's a talent there. He'd be much better at Arsenal than Man United because we play better football than them. But I'm not saying the same for Martinelli, but the difference with Martinelli, bro, he's had years and years of first team football and actually got progressively worse in a team that's constantly finishing in the top four. So he has no excuse. Martinelli is also 24 years of age. Kobe Mainoo's 20. So I would take Kobe for a cut price, genuinely. The guy was playing in the Euros with Declan Rice for England. Going off for Man United, 25 million. Open negotiations. I'd take him. Real talk. I wouldn't pay any big money for him though, because he has struggled over the last few years. But yeah, Hincapie looks like he's going to join, loan with obligation. The Leverkusen team's been ripped apart. It's been ripped apart, man. Hincapie's going to leave. They've lost Frimpong. They've lost Wirtz. I think Jonathan Tah went to Bayern Munich. Big up JV locked in. Do you know what, actually? I actually think this year Bayern Munich are going to be a serious Champions League threat this year. I really do. I think Kane has fully settled now. He's ripping it up. Michael Elise, I think his level's gone up since he's gone there. I'm looking at Elise now going, you might be one of the best right wingers in world football. Do you know what I mean? And Luis Diaz on that left-hand side, I think is a fantastic signing. I think Bayern Munich are a problem this year. I also think Bayern Munich are going to stroll the league this season. Leverkusen's team's been ripped apart. Dortmund have lost a few players, Gittins and one or two others. So I think Bayern will win the league very easily, which will make it easier for them in the Champions League. And obviously Leipzig have lost Sesko. They're going to lose Xavi Simons. I don't think Bayern will have a lot of competition this year in the Bundesliga. So yeah, I think the Champions League is going to be very, very difficult this year. I really do. So yeah, man, let's see what happens with that. Looking forward to it. The draw is tomorrow. Big up Real Talk TV, over 100k. Big up yourself, bro. Big up to everybody. I was going to try and do 100k stream on Friday, but then I realized international break next week. Lots of time. Let's do some stuff next week. So we're going to do member stream starter next week, 100k stream, and I'm going to get some people on, do some collabs as well during the international break. We'll do some international watch-alongs as well. So we've got such a busy week on the channel. We'll do all that next week. Rival club debates would be good, to be honest. Yeah. We'll do that. We can do that. Right, people, where we at? So I had that news. Yeah. So Sambila Conga, we spoke about that. Sambila Conga is in talks to join Trabzonspor on loan, which actually makes no sense because the guy's got a year left on his contract. So I don't, and it's an option to buy. I don't get it. Arsenal midfielder Sambila Conga is in talks to join Trabzonspor on loan with an option to buy. The Turkish club have made the offer to Arsenal, who are willing to let the midfielder leave in this transfer window. Sambila Conga's contract was up in the summer of 2025. This summer, Arsenal extended his contract by 1 year in the hope of selling him to recoup some of the 17 million transfer fee they paid for him. Well, if he's got a year left, I don't get how it's an option to buy if his contract's up next summer. Surely they would turn around and go, no, we're not going to buy him on option to buy. Then yeah, maybe Arsenal have a +1 option on him. That could be the one. So effectively, it could be a 2-year contract. Waste of time. Waste of time. This is his 4th loan spell. There has to be a point where Arsenal realise you've signed a dud, bro. You can't sell him. Stop extending his contract. Man went on loan to Crystal Palace, didn't do anything. Went on loan to Luton, actually did quite well at Luton, but they got relegated, obviously couldn't afford to buy him. Then he goes to Seville. Seville don't want him. Now you're going to loan him to Trabzonspor. They don't want to put an obligation to buy in the deal. Just release the guy. Don't give him a new contract. You got hustled by Vincent Kompany. And that's it. Keep it moving, bro. There's no point giving him a 1-year contract. There's no point. But yeah, listen, it is what it is. Bro, chill. He only wanted Porto. That's the problem. Yeah, fair if he wanted Porto. I don't mind. I just thought we could have got more money for him. Alex said Edu wasn't doing something right with the wages. That is why we find it hard to sell players for good money. I believe next summer will be good. I think Edu was struggling to convince players to come to Arsenal, right? So we were finishing 8th and 5th. We weren't winning. The fans were, very divided. So I think when he's gone to sign a lot of these players, he's like, yo, come to Arsenal. They're like, boy, man, I don't know about Arsenal. Your manager's inexperienced. Your team's not that good. Aubameyang's left. You're not in the Champions League. I'm going to need 150 grand a week to commit to that. And Edu was probably going, okay, we'll give you 150 grand to Zinchenko, who was on like 30 grand a week at Man City. And, Gabriel Jesus, I'll give you 250 grand a week. Oh, okay, I'll come for that for 250. And then you get to a point 2 or 3 years later where the level of Arsenal has gone up. And these guys are not good enough now to start on a regular basis. And then you go into the market and clubs don't want to buy them. Zinchenko isn't worth 150 grand a week. And if you look at a lot of these big clubs now, they're trying to reduce the wage bill. What clubs are doing now is they're paying big signing on fees to players, but offering them less wages. If you look at Real Madrid, a lot of these players, these Mbappes, Trents, Bellinghams, their wages are not what you would expect for players of that level. You'd think Mbappe would be on 700 grand a week. They're paying them like 300 grand, 350 a week, but they're giving them massive signing on fees, you know? So clubs don't want to buy players like Zinchenko on 150. So when AC Milan came in for him, they're probably offering him 70, 80 grand a week. And he's going to say, no, I'm not cutting my wages in half. So you end up getting stuck with him. So I wouldn't be surprised if Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus, these guys will probably end up seeing out their contracts at Arsenal. Maybe even Havertz. Who is going to buy Havertz on 275 a week when he's had a torn hamstring? And he's obviously got this knee injury as well. So that's the problem. And that's what Arsenal need to change. If you're paying big wages, it needs to be for a top player that if you ever get into a difficult situation, somebody's going to pay for him because he's that good. So this is how clubs have to manage it now. Give them big signing on fees with less wages. Less wages enables you to move them on if you ever get in a difficult situation. So that's what they need to be doing. Vance said, handicap signing, Johnny Bravo, 14 up top. Big up. Handicap signing. Handicap. Hincapie. Johnny Bravo up top. Don't worry, man. Yoker is going to get the goals, bro. It don't need to be glamorous. Big up LSU, man. He's gifted 5 memberships to the community. Make sure you are able to accept gifted memberships in your settings, people. Big up to LSU, man. Always supporting. Big wage for Saliba, no problem. You got Saliba on 250. Guess what? 3 years' time, if you had to sell him, that's an easy sell. In 3 years' time, he could be the best centre-back on the planet. Because I honestly think right now, outside of Van Dijk, I don't see many centre-backs ahead of Saliba right now. I'm going to be totally honest. I think Gabriel's one of the best as well right now. I really do. Van Dijk, for me, is the best in the world. After that, I think you can have a lot of arguments over who the best centre-back is. And Van Dijk's in his 30s now, so he ain't going to be going forever. Yeah, Edu's having big problems at Forest, man, with Nuno. Advice, Curtis, long sleeve or short for the white kit? I haven't bought a long sleeve football kit for so long. But then it's mad because now we're coming out of summer. A long sleeve, but I still buy the short sleeves. But some of these long sleeves look clean, I can't lie, for the autumn and the winter. Bastone is good. He's very good. I think Saliba's better than him. I actually think Gabriel's better than him as well. I'm going to be honest. I think Gabriel's better. I haven't bought a long sleeve shirt for I can't tell you how long. I always buy the short sleeve, but yeah, when you're coming out of summertime, I get it. Kind of makes sense to go long, but I always go with the short sleeve, man. I don't like long sleeve ones. Um, hey, short, that's a 3 minute timeout, bro. You even put it in capitals as well. You even put it in capitals. I deleted the comment by accident. Then I didn't even mean to do that. I was meant to block him for 3 minutes for banter. Man, put Almunia. We don't talk about him on this channel. Elliot said, I'm long sleeves all day and always. Fair enough. Fair enough. I get it. I do get it. We used to laugh at Chelsea for giving 10-year contracts, but they're on low wages. This is why they can sell. Chelsea and Liverpool are the best in this country at selling players. No doubt about it. They're the best. They are the best. Harry said, Gabriel versus Saliba, your opinion? It's got a lot closer over the last 12 to 18 months. A lot closer. And I don't think Saliba would look as good without Gabriel, but then Gabriel might not look as good without him because Gabriel is the aggressor that goes and battles, and Saliba's the guy on the cover. Saliba would, if you asked every club in the world, I think the bigger clubs would take Saliba because of the ball playing ability, and unfortunately that is what people want nowadays. I think 10 years ago, 15 years ago, people might be saying Gabriel's better because Vidic, John Terry, Sol Campbell, aggressive defenders. Nowadays, we're obsessed with ball playing centre backs, and Gabriel is so good at that. And he's younger as well. He's younger as well. So I think within the Arsenal team, I honestly think they're equally as important as each other. And I think because Gabriel's such a character as well, Gabriel feels like he could be the captain. Gabriel scores a lot of goals from set pieces. Gabriel, will have a big argument with Haaland. We love that. We connect with that. Saliba's just cool and calm and collective. And I think a lot of Arsenal fans, because it feels like Gabriel's going to be at Arsenal for a long time, I think Arsenal fans feel very connected to him. Even on the tour, I've heard a lot of Arsenal fans say Gabriel's going to be an Arsenal legend because he's going to be at the club. He might end up being at the club for 10 years by the time he leaves. With Saliba, a lot of fans feel like Madrid are lurking in the background, so maybe they're not as attached to him because they're worried that he might leave, and he's got less than 2 years on his contract now. Now, I asked him the question on tour, when are you going to sign that contract? He was never going to say, I'm going to sign it or I'm not, but he was like, hopefully soon, God's timing, blah, blah, blah. That Saliba signing a new deal is as big as any player that we sign in this window. So, in the modern game, I think more people would take Saliba, but I love both of them. I love both of them. It's the best partnership we've had since Campbell and Torre, without a shadow of a doubt. I always say, man, Saliba's the Rolls Royce and Gabby is the Lamborghini Urus. He's a beast. They're both equally as important now. Sky Touche said, let's argue, is Saliba better than Gabby? Gabby's GA is fire. Like I said, I think it's more what kind of defender you want. But if you went to Barca, Bayern, Real Madrid, PSG, I think more of those clubs would take Saliba because of how he plays and the age. So, Ghost Nathan said, I'm still on the waiting list for the Eze jersey. Got a notification saying out of stock. I think the jersey sale is skyrocketing. I ordered it on Sunday and I haven't got it yet. And I thought I would have had it by now. So I reckon they're probably struggling. I reckon the demand would have gone through the roof. So there could be a lot of delays. Might be better off driving to the stadium and getting it. Hairline and veneers unlocked Gabby. He came back a new man, I'm telling you. Not only did they give him a hairline, they fixed the bozo gene, and the guy came back a new man. A couple of years ago, I thought he was getting sold. I actually heard on very good authority, right? I think I've told this story before. It's out there in the news anyway. It ain't no secret. I'm not ITKing. but somebody in a good situation who would have known what was going on within the club confirmed it. But Arsenal were considering selling him to Saudi and buying Laporte from Man City. That year when did we play Fulham at home? Was that last season or the year before? That season when Gabriel got benched at the start of the season, I think Partey was at right back, and one of the Saudi clubs was offering big money for Gabriel, and Arsenal were going to cash in. I think at the time there was questions over how good Gabriel was on the ball, and I don't think Arteta was a big fan of that, because you look at Arsenal wanted Lisandro Martinez before he went to United. We got Calafiori, we got Kiwior. It seemed like we always wanted a left-footed centre back. So was he never fully convinced by Gabby? Laporte was leaving Manchester City that summer. Laporte was very good on the ball. So maybe Arsenal were thinking, Laporte left for 25 million. So maybe Arsenal were thinking, we might be able to get 70 million for Gabriel and get Laporte for 25 mil. We've made a profit, and we've got somebody at the time that they might have thought was better on the ball. However, the deal didn't happen, and Gabriel has got better and better over the last 2 seasons. Looking back now, that deal would have been an absolute shocking deal to have let a player like that go and brought Laporte in. I mean, come on. That would have been horrendous if he did that. So thankfully that deal never happened. Kai Havertz, people. Kai Havertz, if you're wondering, why do we not know how long he's out for yet? This injury came out over a week ago. We found out about Saka within about 24 hours, but obviously, because it was a pull, you find out quickly. Because his is like an impact knee injury, they'll be waiting for swelling to go down. It can take longer. But we've got some news really from the international director of the German national team, who's obviously Havertz has not been called up for the German squad. And it says Arsenal are yet to decide whether Kai Havertz needs to undergo surgery on his knee, which is quite worrying. The Germany national team director said, we don't know exactly how it will go in the coming weeks, whether surgery is upcoming or it will be treated conservatively, which is worrying. They tried this with Ben White. They tried to let it not go for surgery. Came back, he struggled, he ended up getting surgery in the end. And even now, I'm concerned about Ben White, people, because Ben White last season had a real tough season. They tried to play him through the pain, didn't work, gave him the operation, came back at the end of the season, looked really rusty, never got it together. Pre-season looked quite sharp. He's injured all of a sudden again. Listen, it might be a knock and he's back this weekend, but it's a worry about Ben White. Anytime a player has an operation, you know, you have to really manage them carefully. The fact that they're undecided with Havertz, do we give him the operation or not? You would expect that these specialists would know, like, listen, we think he should have surgery or we don't think he requires it. So the fact that they're not sure, I actually think is quite worrying. You know, imagine if that would be an operation on his hamstring and an operation on his knee within the space of 6 months. I mean, that is not good. That is seriously not good. But let's see when we're going to find out how long he's actually out for. Either way, and listen, I know this probably sounds quite insensitive, but Kai Havertz needs to be moved on from Arsenal. I don't expect him to go in January because, I mean, he could be out injured for months, but Arsenal need to be selling Kai Havertz next summer. 2 years left on his deal. Hasn't really worked. In midfield, he was terrible. Up front, he had a decent 6 months. But apart from that, he hasn't been great. Highest paid player at the club, you've got to move him on. You've got to move him on. So, Cristiano Ronaldo had an operation on his ankle, came back even better. Listen, you can. What I'm saying is, post-op, you've got to be managed properly. You know, you've got to make sure the body's strong, make sure everything's healed. And often these players are rushed back. And that's the problem. So hopefully he'll be okay. But yeah, I think he needs moving on at the end of the season, personally. And look at the wages you'd be saving. But the problem is, to get Havertz out of Arsenal, you're going to need a very big football club to sign him to pay those wages. Are the best clubs in Europe going to take him? I'd be very surprised, unless it was a loan. Tommy said, see, I think Trossard starts on the left on Sunday. I think a lot of it will come down to Odegaard. If Odegaard's out, you would think Eze would play in the attacking midfielder role. If Odegaard plays, I would like to think he would play Eze on the left. Problem is, Martinelli's got a good record against Liverpool. He did well there last season. He puts in a shift. I've got this feeling Eze might not start. That's not me. I would play him. But I've just got this feeling Arteta's going to look at it and go, Anfield, the amount of running you're going to have to do. I'll go with somebody like Martinelli that knows the kind of shift you've got to put in. And then I feel like Eze might come on the last 25 minutes. I don't think he will play Ethan in the 10 at Anfield. I think that would be, it's a very brave decision. I don't think he would make that decision. So I think a lot of it comes down to Odegaard. Odegaard has been called up for the Norway squad, which would indicate that his injury is not too bad. However, will he be fit enough to play this week is the question. We're still waiting on how long he's going to be out for. So I don't think we'll find out until the team lineup comes out. Arteta will say in the press conference, "Oh, we've still got one more training session to go, so we'll see how it goes." So I don't think we will know what the problem is with Odegaard until that lineup's announced on Sunday. I don't think he'll let us know anything. Do you know what? Yesterday I went on AFTV and I said during the stream, I felt we improved once Odegaard came off. And somebody said, "Oh, that's horrible. You're happy that a player's injured." I said, "Bro, first of all, I never said I was happy he's injured. I don't want any Arsenal player to get injured. And it's a fact. We improved when he came off. We played quicker. We created chances. We scored goals. So I don't know why people get in their feelings, bro. Like, I don't get too caught up on any individual player or any manager. I just don't. I just don't. Odegaard 2 years ago I thought was unbelievable. Right now, I don't think he's that good. That's just the reality of the situation. So, what I will say about the Eze situation is everything will calm down on Sunday, because if we win, we'll be even more happy. If we don't win or we lose, all of that Eze thing sort of, Liverpool will be like, oh, all that hype for Eze and you got beat. So I think Sunday's game is massive. I feel like it's the biggest game between Arsenal and Liverpool for a long time. I don't know. It feels like it's a real opportunity to make a mark on the title. Gunarican TV said, "I have a video coming out soon where I speak on Odegaard. I think we need to have a discussion." Yeah, 100%. Listen, I've said many times on this channel that Odegaard is a very talented footballer. I don't think he's damaging the opposition as much as he should. I think he plays too deep, comes and gets the ball off the centre backs. I would want him close to our striker and playing through balls, and that's where I want him to play. I think he needs to trust Zubimendi to run the game from deep, and he stays higher up the pitch. But he seems to want to go looking for the ball all the time, and I think that damages us sometimes. So even if they're a top player, if they're out of form, there has to be a point where you say, should we take them out of the 11? And I think we're at that point now when you've got a player like Eze that you could have that discussion. Maybe Eze playing off the left, maybe that helps Odegaard. I don't know. I create all these excuses to say, oh, maybe having a good DM will help Odegaard because he'll get the ball more. But Partey was a quality DM anyway. And Zubamendi's a very good deep line playmaker. Then I said, oh, maybe Gyökeres will help Odegaard because a striker that makes runs. Now I'm saying maybe Eze drifting off the left will help him. I think ultimately he's just not playing very well, to be honest. He just hasn't played that well for the last, probably post ankle injury last season. I think that's the reality. But let's hope he can do something if he plays this weekend. But will be interesting if he does play. And you are right. A bad run is a couple months. He's been poor for a year. Yeah, which to me is form. And I think once players are playing like that, you've got to have discussions. But is Arteta brave enough to do that? He's shown that kind of ruthless nature before, with Ramsdale, who felt like a favourite, and Martinelli, who felt like a favourite. I still think he's got a little bit of time to figure out whether Odegaard. Big C, Hugo is going to be a problem. Yeah. But listen, the one thing I always say, people, is if any defensive partnership can handle a quality striker, it's the partnership that we've got. Let's be honest, he has not played against two better centre-backs in the same team than what he's going to play against this weekend. Gabriel and Saliba is the best partnership in the Premier League. I think Van Dijk is the best centre-back, but I don't think Konate and Van Dijk is better than Gabriel and Saliba. So I feel like we can handle him. He's a problem. I think Salah's the problem. Even though Salah, I thought, was really poor against Newcastle, Calafiori against Salah will be a good battle. Be interesting. So I think it'll be a really good game. I'm looking forward to it. I wish the game was today. I really do. It'll be a really good game. People, I am out of here. As I said, we got a very busy week. So middle of next week, we're going to do the 100k stream and we're going to do the members stream because it's international break. I actually forgot. So tomorrow we've got the Champions League watch along. I'll try and do a show in the day at 2 o'clock and then we'll come back for the Champions League draw. It's at 5 o'clock tomorrow. And then, yeah, we'll have a show on Friday and then we'll do watch alongs over the weekend. Obviously, Liverpool against Arsenal, people. So big up to everyone locked in. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hit the like button on the way out. And I will see you all soon.